Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm here to answer more of your questions, and thanks for sending them in. The two questions I get asked most often are, first, are there going to be any more Walt Disney Treasures DVDs? Well, there are no plans. We've had no conversations. There doesn't seem to be interest in doing any more. That's all I know, and that's all I can tell you. I wish it were otherwise. The second question is, why isn't your Leonard Maltin Movie Guide iPhone app available for Android users? I wish it were, believe me, but the people at Mobile Age who did such a good job preparing the iPhone app tell me that writing the code for Android is very tough because there isn't one single platform to work for. And there's no one single clearinghouse like iTunes. So I'm sorry on that count as well. Now, Poelify says, who do you think the most important unsung heroes of film production are? Well, that's a long list. Cinematographers, editors, costume designers, production designers, sound mixers, sound editors. They all make a valuable and sometimes hidden contribution to the success of a movie. Hidden because if they do their job well, you shouldn't notice it. It's kind of a catch-22. Now, of course, sometimes you do notice beautiful cinematography. Sometimes you do notice a great sound design. Sometimes you do notice beautiful costumes. But in an ideal situation, everything comes together as an organic whole, and you don't. You shouldn't be thinking about those things. Still, I think that all of those arts and crafts need to be better understood, and it's one of the thrills of my life is getting to meet some of these people and learn what they do and how they do it. Kyle Smith says, what was your experience on Freakazoid like? Well, it was great. It was a dream come true. I got to play myself in an animated cartoon. I got a call from Warner Brothers Animation one day telling me that they had written me into a script of Freakazoid during its second season, and would I play myself? Well, of course I would. And unlike an animated feature where mostly the actors work solo, without fellow actors to bounce off of, this was recorded more like a radio show. We were all in the same room. So I was sitting between Edward Asner and David Warner, and there was Tim Curry, the episode's guest star, and there were people like Maurice LaMarche and Tress MacNeille, these great cartoon voice pros. What company to be in, and what a wonderful and funny and enjoyable afternoon I had, and now it's there forever on DVD and in reruns. I'm part of a tiny little piece of TV animation, and very happy to be. Michael Scalli says, what are some of your favorite films about making films, fictional or documentary? Well, in the fictional category, I've always loved MGM's The Bad and the Beautiful with Kirk Douglas and Lana Turner. Great film, made in the early 50s. A fairly cynical look behind the scenes of Hollywood, and very well done. 20 years later, Francois Truffaut made his wonderful film Day for Night. Let me say Truffaut properly. Day for Night. If you've never seen that, you're in for a special treat. It's a very wise and witty film that tells a lot of truth about the nature of filmmaking and the personalities and the conflicts and the joys. And then there's a documentary you shouldn't miss. If you've never seen it, you've got to see Lost in La Mancha, which is about the making, or rather the unmaking, of Terry Gilliam's production of Don Quixote, which was to have starred Johnny Depp. The filmmaker showed up with Gilliam's enthusiastic permission to follow him around and document everything that happened. Well, what happened was a disaster. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong. And then Gilliam had enough of a sense of humor and perspective to allow them to cut it together and release it as a film. It's an amazing movie, a one-of-a-kind documentary. I promised that at some point we'd start talking about and showing some of my collectibles. Here's one of my favorites and one of my oldest. When I was 13 or 14, I used to correspond with Jay Ward, the producer of Rocky and Bullwinkle. And I wrote an article about him in my early fanzine, and he sent me this. Imagine being 13 and opening your mail, and there's a package with this inside. It's the Exceptional Adequacy Award for helping to promote public apathy toward the Bullwinkle show. I love it. I cherish it. Wouldn't part with it for the world. See you next time.